Namaste, namaste, and welcome to this short yoga practice, especially recorded for one of my gorgeous yoga students. At the moment, they are having a problem with one of their ribs, which means that moving the center of their torso is very painful. So, this practice is designed for moving in a way that uses the other ends of the torso and the body, but not the center so very much. Please bear in mind that I am not a medical professional, so whilst this is a lovely practice, if you are having any significant pain or injury in that area, do seek medical advice first before doing this practice. And yoga can be a great tool during recovery, but it isn't really a diagnostic tool. Okay, so we're going to start with just a little bit of movement in the body, and we want to try and create a sense of support and firmness around the center. So a little activation of the belly muscles and the pelvic floor, and we want to keep the knees soft with nice wide knees. And we're going to begin with just a gentle roll of the shoulders. So here the object isn't to roll the shoulders as much as possible, it's just to do a small movement. And we really want to feel that there's a little wriggle without involving the rib cage, if we can manage. So we're rolling in one direction, and then we're going to roll in the other direction. Super. And sometimes it's nice to work with small movements, more precise, more focused awareness. You always get out of yoga what you put into it. Very good. And then we're going to come to working with the neck, and we're going to start with the head nice and lifted, and just a really small movement up and down. Almost imperceptible. Again, we want the movement to be quite isolated. And you can use your eyes as well. A little bit of yoga for the eyes while we're moving the rest of the body. And from the center, same thing, but side to side. Again, you can move your eyes as you gently move the head from this very upright position. The rest of the body nice and still. And then in the center, a gentle tilt, one way and then the other. The object here is not to do as much as you can, but almost to do as little as you can. Trying to work with the vertebra at the top of the spine more than the ones further down. And then in the center, we're going to make circles of the head. Again, the smallest you can make. Really nice. Small, gentle movements, really releasing for that area at the back of the skull, and the opposite way as well. Just moving in a way that feels good to you. Coming back to center, and then you might like to do a little bit more, moving the chin towards the chest, finding that sense of length across the shoulder blades, between the shoulders. That was the other way around. And then coming back to center. And as you come back to center, bottom teeth over top teeth, and lifting your chin up. Breathing as you hold, and then slowly back to center. Excellent. Now the knees have been bent with the legs kind of active this entire time, so just give them a little shake. Make sure that we don't end up tense or overstimulated in any way. We're going to come back to that stance again, nice and soft in the knees, firm in the center. And we're just going to begin to swing the arms. So we're starting really small because the object here is to move from the shoulder and not to move the rest of the body. So just moving from the shoulder, nice heavy arms, soft shoulders, relaxing, releasing. Very good. And then coming back to center, just slowly releasing it a little at a time. And then we're going to try lifting and lowering. So we don't want to release the arms completely to the body because we don't want to bash anything, but just almost like a bird trying to take flight but not trying very hard. just a little out and in. And if you wish to, you can swing in front and behind the body, nice and firm in the belly as you work, just softening the elbows, relaxing the shoulders. One more time, in front and behind. And then we're just going to let the shoulders settle, give them a little wriggle, and then drawing the shoulders up towards the ears, only going as far as feels comfortable for your torso, particularly if it twinges in the ribs, then just not going too high. Holding the shoulders wherever you get to, and then as slowly as you can, releasing them down away from the ears, getting to almost a neutral spot, maybe getting there. Oh, we've arrived. And then when you're back in the center, pressing your palms to the floor and lengthening the crown of your head up at the same time. This is not such a big movement as drawing the shoulders up, but we want to put as much effort into it. And then as slowly as you can, releasing back to wherever neutral is for you. We'll do that one more time, shrugging the shoulders all the way up to the ears, holding them briefly. And then slowly, 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 slowly releasing them down, away from the ears. When we're dealing with an injury across the torso, across the rib cage, it's quite common to get stiffness in the neck and shoulders. That's why we're doing this. At the bottom of the movement, pressing the palms down to the floor, pressing the crown of the head upwards, holding as tight as you can, and then slowly, slowly, slowly releasing back to center. And after all of that, lengthening the legs, taking a deep breath in, sighing out. Very good. If you can, just give your shoulders a little wriggle. They don't need to do much to have that loosening effect. So we're going to take the arms a little wider now, and then bring the palms together and just draw the chin towards the chest. So we're trying to think about length from the middle of the back forwards, middle of back to the crown of the head. And then we're opening the arms wide, just seeing if we can take the arms a little bit behind the body. We want to use our shoulder blades to do that. Instead of flaring the ribs, we want to use the shoulder blades, draw them together, even soften the elbows, maybe a little bit behind the body. So we're moving the arms forward, chin towards chest. I've done that a little bit rounded further down. So trying to round only from the center of the back forwards, and then drawing the arms nice and wide, maybe taking the elbows a little bit behind the body to open the chest, thinking about width across the front of the body. Let's do 3 more of these. So chin to chest, reaching the arms forward. You can even bring the backs of the hands towards each other if you like, but palms is fine. Then standing tall, opening the arms wide, gliding the shoulder blades towards each other, elbows into the body, keeping that sense of open across the front of the body. 2 more. Chin to chest. It's just the upper part of the back rounding, and then opening wide, gliding the elbows in, keeping the palms facing forwards. Last one. Rounding just the upper back forwards, reaching the hands forward, create length across the back of the body, and then opening the arms wide, gliding the shoulder blades in, keeping the palms wide, keeping the hands behind the body as well if you can, and then just turning the palms and floating the arms down to the side, checking after every practice that it feels okay in the body, that you haven't put any intensity or discomfort into the body. If we can avoid it, we want to. And now we've done stuff for our upper body. If you need to wiggle anything, just wiggling or jiggling, anything that feels like a nice release. We're going to take our awareness down to our hips, so soft in the knees, just sitting your weight into the center of the foot. And we're going to wriggle the hips backwards and forwards. Let me turn sideways, it's easier to see. So again, we're trying to eliminate movement at the very bottom of the rib cage. And if you have an area that you don't want to move, put your hands on it so you can feel if you're moving those bony structures or soft tissue structures, if that's what you're trying to avoid moving. So here, just wriggling the pelvis backwards and forwards, trying to do a little, so we want to explore as much movement as we can with this one, but without causing any discomfort or tension. And then coming to center and doing a little side to side. So just lifting one hip and then the other. It's just a very small wriggle, trying to keep nice and centered in the belly, keeping the bottom of the rib cage nice and still. Very good. And then in the center, we're going to try and do little circles. So circling off the hips. And if we do these slowly and with great control and awareness, actually really good for training our deeper core muscles. Small movements. And when you're ready, you can go the other way as well. You can go more slowly if you like. And again, if you want to hold on to the body anywhere to make sure that you're keeping that supported part still. And that's all good. Very nice. Coming back to center, just straightening the legs and shaking out the legs a little bit if you'd like to. Awesome sauce. So we are going to do a little hands and knees, but without coming down to the hands and knees. And that's why I have this chair here. So as you come towards the chair, just placing your hands on the chair and walking your feet away so that you have a nice length in your torso. And you can have your shoulders a little bit more forward if you like over the hands, or a little bit behind as you choose, whatever feels better to you. We're going to start with the knees nice and soft and just lengthening one leg and then the other. So in the center, we're trying to keep a little lift in the belly muscles, but we're thinking about lengthening our tailbones back behind us, keeping length in the back of the body, the back of the torso, certainly, as we just wiggle one side and then the other. Don't want to stiffen up anywhere, so this is helping our hamstrings to remain nice and fluid and long. And if you wish to, you can come down onto your forearms and do the same thing. Again, keeping the belly muscles lifted. We don't want to do too much arching of the spine, so just taking care that you're moving in a way that feels good to you. Very nice. And then we can come back up to our hands and take the feet, just turn them out ever so slightly. And we're going to alternate between bending the knees deeply, trying to keep the back nice and long, and then coming into that forward bend with the toes turned inwards and taking ourselves into the forward bend as much as feels comfortable. Knees can be soft if necessary. Coming up a little bit to turn the toes out and bend the knees. Doesn't matter how low you go. We don't really want to go so far that we put any stress into the body, and then turning the toes and just softening forward into this forward bend, scooping the belly in. So we're trying to move from the hips and knees. So the torso, much less movement happening across the torso. And it's just that pivot on the heels or the toes that is happening to help us come in and out of this movement. Very good. This is going to be our last one. Very nice. And we're going to just bring the feet a touch closer together. And then in our hands and knees standing position, nice and firm in the belly, we're going to move one leg. So we're going to slide the right leg back, keeping really centered. And we're going to slide the right knee forwards and then place the right foot down. Same thing on the other side. Slide the left foot back. Slide the left knee forwards. Maybe lifting the foot and then placing it down. The idea here is to not move in the torso. So we're not dropping the hip. We're just taking that effort on one side and then the other, trying to move as little as possible in the torso as we move the legs. Let's do one more to each side. Sliding the right foot back bending the knee towards the chest. Doesn't have to round the spine, it's just the knee itself that's moving. Left side. And at this point, we're going to take a little break. So walking your feet in, dropping the bottom down and standing tall by pressing through the legs to come up to standing, because it's a lot of effort on the wrist. It's not as much effort as it would be if we were on our hands and knees, because the legs are taking much more weight than they would in the hands and knees position. But rolling your wrists just to release them. Excuse me. I've got a little tickle in my throat today. Very good. We can shake out the wrists as well and make any movements that feel good. So if there's a little wriggle, little neck movements, little hip movements, whatever feels good to you. And we're going to do the same position, but this time we're going to lift the leg a little bit behind us and see how far we go. Might wriggle the hips first. So the best way to get into this is to stand tall and bend at your hips. Place your hands down and then step your feet a bit further back. So a little firm in the belly muscles here. And we can just gently tilt the tailbone backwards and forwards and just see how much room we've got to move here without moving the rib cage itself. Very nice. And then we can shift our awareness from hips to shoulders, and with the arms quite long, just roll the shoulders. So here we're not moving the ribs, we're actually moving the scapula, the shoulder blades, and the shoulder joints themselves. And we can roll the shoulders in the opposite direction as well, which is really nice. Arms moving. If, of course, you feel it moving in your back in a way that feels uncomfortable, then just come to stillness and rest out of this particular practice. So I'm going to bring my feet just a little bit closer to the chair so that they are right underneath my center of gravity. And then firming the belly muscles, thinking about lengthening the tailbone, lengthening through the crown of the head. A little soft in the elbows, so we're really using the strength of the arms. I'm going to slide the right foot back, and then we're going to lift the right leg to wherever feels comfortable and lower. So we don't want to necessarily do a big lift, but thinking about what is firming in the back of the body to lift and lower. This is number 3. We're going to do 2 more. And if you can, do it without touching the floor. So lower, but don't touch the floor. And then from the lifted position, we're going to bend that knee forward and then try to lengthen the leg out behind us. Again, try to keep the torso nice and still, just moving from the hip, bending the knee in and out, lengthening out. 2 more, bending in, lengthening out, nice and firm in the belly, nice and still in the torso. And then we draw this foot back underneath the body. And in the center, we can just wiggle the hips from side to side or up and down, or bend the knees and wiggle anything, just small releasing movements. And we'll do the same thing to the other side. So in the center, really, really firm, sliding the left toes back so the left leg is lengthened, and then we're lifting the left leg and lowering down. We're going to do it 4 more times, trying to use the muscles at the back of the body, particularly the buttock, the hamstring, maybe some muscles in the low back and the belly. Very good. I think I've lost count, so we're going to do 1 more. So we might have done 6 on that side, but who knows? From the lifted position, we're going to bend the knee in towards the chair and then lengthen the leg out again. Try to keep the torso nice and still. It really helps to press the hands into the chair and apart from each other. Have that sense of almost trying to release them apart so that you get the stability for the chest. And again, I've chatted, so I don't remember. Let's do 1 more. And then we're going to finish with lengthening, lowering the left foot down. We'll take a short break off our hands. So bending the knees deeply, pressing into the feet to stand tall, just rolling in the wrists. Shaking the wrists out if you need to. Very good. So it can be hard to access the sides of the body when you're trying to keep things nice and still, you can access the side of your hips. And we're going to do one more practice on the hands and knees chair variation before we come to doing that, but it will sort of transition us in that direction. So when you're ready, facing your chair, bending at the knees, sticking the bottom out so the torso is maintained in an alignment as you bend forward, taking the feet back and finding your strong center. Here we're going to take the weight onto the left foot, move the right foot back, lift the leg up, and then bend that leg at the knee. You can point or flex your foot or do something in between if you prefer. And we're going to move that knee in circles. So it doesn't matter what those circles look like, as long as we're moving from the hip. We're going to do one more circle in this direction. I think that's 4 circles. And then go the opposite way. Again, pressing into the chair with the hands and imagining you're trying to take them apart from each other so you can stabilize the torso at the shoulders. When you're ready, stepping onto both feet, taking a moment to reset yourself in the center, and then weight onto the right foot, lift the left leg up, bend the left knee, point or flex, doesn't matter. 4 knee circles, and they don't need to be particularly big circles, trying to move from the hip, nice and still in the rest of the body, and then the opposite way. We're just beginning to access a little bit of side hip movement, which is really nice. One more. And then lengthening your left leg and lowering down. We're going to bend at the knees. Take the weight off the hands to stand all the way tall. And it is not unusual for that to feel quite strong in the wrists or the hands, particularly on a hard surface. I've used a chair with a hard surface. If you're used to practicing against a carpet or a yoga mat, it might feel a little bit more sensitive than it normally would. So we can use our chair again to access the side of the body. I realize I haven't picked up a block, but I'm going to do that now. So hopefully you have got something that you can stand on. Doesn't need to be anything particularly high. A sturdy book will do as long as it supports your foot. And we want to stand tall and then just see if we can access a little bit of side hip action. So we're crossing the leg in front of the body and out to the side. At the same time, we're standing tall, reaching the arm out wide or hand on the hip so that we can make sure that we're not moving in the torso. Very good. And then if you would like to, you can bring the knee up in front of you, out to the side and down. So almost like a hip circle, but just this open movement. Out to the side and down. Let's do one more. Aces. Now I'm actually going to use the wall for my second side. So stepping onto both feet, feel the difference between the two sides of the body. And then standing tall and starting with just moving the leg across the body and out to the side. And you can feel the effort in the outside of that right leg that's moving, but your left leg is doing some stabilizing here, so that's great too. And again, it's working this lower part of the core, the deep core as well, without moving the rib cage. And then you can add to this by drawing your knee across the body, out to the side and down, across the body, out to the side and down. And if that doesn't suit you, you don't have to do it. And if, like me, you need to do a little bit of balancing, remember you can hold on both sides if you need to. We'll do one more, which I think is more than we did on the last side, but that's okay. And then step onto both feet. Just notice how that feels. Do a little marching in place. Helps to rebalance. And if you'd like to, you can do a little wiggle of the hips, a little wiggle of the shoulders. The final practice is to do like a downward facing dog, but we don't want to stretch the arms too much over the head. So we're going to leave the arms in front of the body, but not all the way up. So arms in front of the body, taking the feet back, nice and soft in the knees, and think about lengthening your tailbone backwards. If that feels comfortable in the rib cage, that's great. If it doesn't, just avoid this practice. So here you might like just a little wiggle of the hips from side to side, or a bend of the knees, one and then the other. And if it feels too much to reach the arms forward like this, you can bring the arms down, just giving yourself that final little wriggle. We're going to walk our hands up the chair as we come to walk in. And there we have finished our practice. So you can relax in any position that you like to do your relaxation. Listen to a piece of music or the sounds of nature, or do one of the relaxations that you find on this channel. I hope you've enjoyed this practice, and I'll look forward to working with you again soon. Namaste.